Welcome to another SOP live stream. Tonight we're talking about canning. We have some special guests this evening. We've got Miss Nina, Miss Mouse Toes, and Rebel Canners. So, I suppose you'd like to see everybody, wouldn't you? There you go. So tonight we're talking about canning. If you got questions, please put them in caps so my old ancient eyes can see them. There we have in chat, let's see here, we got Mouse, we have Gil, we have Kaylin, we have Uncle Al hiding out in chat, we got Miss Nina, CB, we got Backwoods Law, good evening, sir, Texas Rob, Butch from Sand Hollow. I don't think I missed anybody yet. So I'll check my other chat over here because I can see more. Prep Fort was in there a minute ago, or 10, 20, 30 minutes ago.
No, she just in again.
Oh, really?
She just came in again.
There's a Miss Lisa Spear. So, which one of you fine, upstanding young ladies would like to take lead first? Yes, I'm talking to you three up on top.
Do it, Nina.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. First of all, I am a food storage enthusiast. I take canning beyond serious. SOP, Ohio, and Gil, my jam. This, my friends, I'm holding up something. Can you see it?
Yep.
It's a holy vessel.
Hold on, let
holy
me.
vessel. The holy vessel.
This is an Orchard Road cannon lid. Don't put no screws in it. Don't put no pencils in it. It's for food, okay? So don't be going, I like to use my mason jars for pencils. We put food in them. These are so darn hard to find now that if you get a nick in it, throw it away. It still ain't a pencil cup, okay? So we got to know what the heck we're talking about. This is a ring, okay? This is a lid. I hate when people go, do I have to tighten the lid down? You can't tighten this down. This is what you tighten down. So me and SOP have had these conversations before about the lid and the rim of the jar. This is the rim of your jar. That's what you write down with vinegar, right? To make sure no carrots or anything are stuck on it so that then your lid will fit on it. So if we speak of the English in the canon world, we'll be able to help with the questions. Okay? So that's what I got. Go ahead, Nina. I had to rant for a minute.
Absolutely. So food preservation is, especially now is very important. It's an important thing to know how to do. If you don't know how to do it, get with a friend, get a group going, even if you have to do it online, virtually or whatever, to help figure out the canning process, because I feel like the more that you can put away, the better off you're going to be. So, I know that this is a canning chat, but I also want to bring forth the different ways of food preservation, such as dehydrating. I have a freeze dryer. I use my freeze dryer quite a bit. So in the canning realm of home canning foods, I've lost all of my food storage. So I've got to start over on the things that I can to put away. So it's going to be starting from scratch. The only things that I have with me are things like this. This is, let me find my camera. This is freeze-dried ground beef, and I put them in half-gallon jars and vacuum seal them using the attachment for your vacuum sealer that fits on wide mouth jars. And so this is what I have with me. This is freeze-dried ground beef. And then I have, this is freeze-dried chicken. And this one also is vacuum sealed in a 1/2 gallon jar. So I use my freeze dryer for this. Also, I have, this is squash that's been freeze dried. There's no liquid. It's very light. The jar's been vacuum sealed as well. So I have this. I'm going to keep going. I have, this is celery that's freeze dried in a 1/2 gallon jar. I have, a few of these. And this is bell pepper. I have some of these. I have several of these that are freeze dried and vacuum sealed in jars. So, and this is dehydrated. The mixed vegetables you get from the big box store. It doesn't matter where you get it, as long as you preserve it for, when you need it. And rotate it out, every like 5 or 6 years or whatever. Start rotating your supplies. But this is dehydrated. Even if you don't have a freeze dryer, and even if you don't know how to can, you can still preserve food. And then that's not to say that if you, you're adding to the food that you have stored, use something like this. This is prepackaged. But if you catch them on sale and you need extra, pick you up a couple of these. I caught these on sale and I got them to add to my food stores. So there's different ways, but the focus of this conversation, I know, is canning. But I just wanted to bring that, the other methods, they all combine together to help you have food on hand when you need it, if something happens. So that's what I got for now.
And thank you for letting me come. I'm Rebel Canners. I started a Facebook group because I found that a lot of people weren't able to ask questions, and they got shut down whenever they asked any kind of question that didn't match certain guidelines. And so I've started a group just to help people and get people back to doing these old-fashioned food preservation methods again.
Absolutely. But knowing how and getting in touch with someone that can help you learn the canning process. Canning is not hard. It's not, what does Master say? It's not rocket science, There are guidelines that you follow. There are certain things, everyone has an opinion. Do your own research, such as canning milk or canning cake or whatever. You have to do the research and make the decision if that's something that you want to do. But learning how to can your food when you have extra, is going to be important. I'm trying to think what else.
Your freeze-dried food is absolutely part of food storage and was brilliant. And along the lines, and hi, Rebel Canner, nice to meet you. Along what Nina was saying, become an experienced canner first. The science is done for you. I get emails all the time, text messages when I'm trying to help a new canner, but I don't know whether it's low pressure or high pressure. The science is done for you, okay? It's in your ball canning, right? It will tell you when you're going to do chicken, right, that you're going to use the pressure canner. One of the best, if you cannot afford to buy books, right, is there is a free download, right? This book right here, Complete Guide to Home Canning. You could print it off at home if you want. I just ordered the book. It will tell you if you're doing tomatoes or corn, whether you're water bath or pressure canning. So don't get confused with the chitty chat on, oh, I'm not sure. And don't listen to your neighbor who says, oh, I've been pressure canning green beans by adding vinegar to my water bath for 150 years with my grandma. because if you want to get botulism, that's the way to get it. So,
Right. And also, even if you're scared of starting with pressure canning, start with water bath canning. Just get over that hump of just getting the first batch done. You know, take something simple that you can water bath can, get that done and get comfortable with it, you know, and put that on your shelf so that you have an accomplishment to look at.
yes.
And then move on from there, you know.
And just getting over that initial fear, but just know that the science is done for you. Carrots is a super easy thing to can. Green beans, meat to me are the easiest to can, right?
Yeah.
You just chop up your chicken, shove it in a jar, and
That's
of
right.
course, just follow the right steps with, as long as you do that right amount of processing time. If it says 75 minutes, it doesn't mean 65 because you're in a hurry, right? It's so if you do that safely, you need to know that every jar that is sitting in your food storage for your family is safe to eat. I'm not going to look at a jar and go, I wonder if we'd get sick if I eat that. So just take
And-
your time. But for new people,
Yes, and notice when Mouse Toes holds that jar up for you to see, what does it not include? It does not include the ring. When you can your vegetables or your meat and they are sealed, take your ring off.
yes.
You know, I've had conversations with people about, well, I just leave mine on. So, you know, I can stack on top of it or whatever. Take your rings off. And the reason for that is if your jar gets overheated or it bumps or whatever and you lose your seal, if you have the ring on that jar, you won't be able to know that your seal has been lost. So take your ring off when you put it on your shelf for storage. That's always been the way I've done it. Tammy, is that the way you do it as well?
Most of the time. Right now I'm moving, so I have all the rings back on my jars because I'm moving.
Right.
So, but I do take them off. Otherwise, they get rust. If you leave them in storage, I try to rotate a 3-year rotation is my max. So I don't want to make more than what I'm going to eat within a 3-year period. So if you leave them on, the rings on, they'll rust on, and then they're almost impossible to get off the jar.
Right.
Here is a
Lady-
visual of what Nina's talking about. This is a ring, okay, that's probably 12 years old. And if you can see on this side that it is discolored and rusting, okay, I use that to can because it has not gone through to the inside, all right? But I bring visuals like to show people one of the big questions, and Nina and Rebel Canner are probably familiar with this. How long is my food good for? This is from November of 2015, and it is a tomato sauce. It is still vibrant and red, but I promise you, had I left that ring on here, it would have rusted because it is so acidic, right? And the main concern is when you leave this ring on after you've canned and you're supposed to let your jar, your holy vessel, sit unmolested for 24 hours, not with a towel over it. I'm talking sitting out, undisturbed, unmolested. There will be water trapped behind this ring. The next day when you take it off, you may see a little bit of siphoning from that tomato sauce. If I leave this ring on, it's not a lid, remember, it's a ring, and then I go to wash these with hot soapy water, I ain't gonna know if there's anything behind this ring and if that lid is secure. Also, think about that. That is from 2015. We're in 2021. People will say, oh, and the new lids say, oh, you know, they're only good for 1 year. Yeah, I ain't playing that because I keep these as visuals, like some old hot dogs canned, because people will say, and like, oh, I won't keep anything longer than 6 months. If it was canned safely, you have nothing to be afraid of. Now, tomato sauce, it also, my goods stay in a dark pantry, a big wooden shelf area in an air-conditioned heated house. If they were going through major heat and air condition or sunlight hitting them, they wouldn't remain vibrant. I don't need to keep a tomato sauce from 2015 because we grow tomatoes every year. We're tomato sauce freaks. Okay. So that's what we like. And, and like Rebel Canner was saying, she cans stuff she uses in 3 years. Why? Because she cans things she eats. Don't just can things because, they're cute in a jar. But tell me, when you look at a beef stock, right? This is 2018. When you pour your stuff out of your commercial, we'll call it the Swan, okay? It ain't got this color to it. Chicken stock looks like it's water that somebody put an Alka-Seltzer in. This is from 2018. There is more flavor in this. And guess what? This lid is still on here, right?
Yeah.
If that lid remains on, but you can occasionally hear in your pantry something go pop. And you go in there and you'll smell it in a couple days because you didn't have the ring on, right? That lid popped because that product became compromised somehow. Whether you didn't put lemon juice in with that tomato sauce, and that will save your life. I am not fixing to get botulism. I'm not taking my husband out with it. I don't need the hospital bill. And I cannot go without my own home canned food because I can't eat no Green Giant green beans. I don't know what that is, but it ain't got no flavor. So take your time, and you can become a Rebel Canner later once you get the science of it and you're not trying to water bath something that's supposed to be pressure canned. Don't hurt yourself.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure one of the questions that's fixing to come up is what's the major difference between water bath and pressure canning? Because somebody that's new to this they're not going to know the difference. So,
but what did I just say, Ohio? They don't need to know because it's high acid or low acid, because they're going to go to a trusted source, whether it's the Ball Book or this, and they're going to go, I'm going to can me some tomatoes. And it's going to say you need to do that in the water bath can. Or they're going to go, wait, I want to can me some chicken. What do I do that in? And they go to their Ball Book and it says you're going to use your pressure canner. So it's high acid, low acid, and it will tell you if you need to add lemon juice. That ain't for flavoring, people.
Right.
It's for safety. So read, you got to know your books. Okay. I don't care if your pawpaw and your mamaw, put squirrel gizzards and, hot boudin in a jar and processed it for 72 hours in a water bath can. I don't care.
And have you a hard copy of that book. Everybody is all about, digital copies, but print you out a copy that you can have on hand, hard copy, so that when all these computers bite the dust, you're still going to have your information.
Yes.
All right. I just posted a link in the chat in Charles's channel for the search page on Amazon for the Ball Book. They do list several Ball books as well as some of the other books.
Mm-hmm. And what's
most of them are on Kindle.
I think Nina and I have talked about this, and we learned it from Lulu Creates, who's she's been to the food storage, the food can in college. Okay. Like this book is 10 years old. It's outdated. Right. But I got the new one, and all that the difference is in the new one is it allows you in some recipes to use fresh lemon as opposed to lemon juice in a jar from the grocery, because the pH is known in that. This also teaches you some meals in a jar that the old Ball Book didn't have. And what I love about these knowledgeable canners, right, who have access to actually, if you call Ball on the telephone or send them an email, they talk to you. And she wanted to verify that it said 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice. She did not want to make the new recipe if they meant the stuff you get from the grocery store, Kroger, from concentrate lemon juice with a known pH. And they spent a lot of time on the phone with her explaining for this particular recipe that wasn't necessary. And then she shared it with all of us who, when we got to that in the new book, were like, holy cow, I ain't making that. right? So it's really nice. They will actually make a change, but that's after so many months of canning that, right, in their kitchen, testing it for any pathogens or bacteria or botulism. So we know when they tell us we can use 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, they ain't kidding. So we should not substitute fresh lemon juice when we're canning tomato sauce in our kitchen, because that ain't gonna work, right? Make us sick in 7 months, could the lid pop off. So there's some things you just stick with. Lemon juice ain't that expensive, whether it's from Kroger, the Piggly Wiggly. I mean, hell, you can steal it, right? I mean, if you're desperate enough, right? Don't steal jars and lids. That ain't right. But if I had to cop some lemon juice, I would to send me up some tomato sauce. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
They do sell it at the dollar store.
Oh, awesome, Tammy. Awesome.
And if you can't find the lemon, they do have the lime.
Oh, nice. Yep. And lemon juice in a jar will go bad. You know, I used to get them like they were 6 for something. And then I had one that I went to use. And thankfully, I always sort of like when you break an egg, I break an egg one at a time in a bowl. I'm not going to add 6 to a cake. And then, you know, the 5th one was bad and I just ruined everything, the flour, the sugar, the butter. So, and I went to pour it out and it was discolored. And that was like, ooh, that wasn't good.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So do you have favorite things that you can, Tammy? You know, my favorite is chicken and ground beef. Those are my favorite things to can, because when you're working, you know, 14 hours a day and you get off work and you're hungry, having that food available that's already cooked is wonderful. It is fabulous not to have to thaw out the meat and then cook it and all that.
Yeah. Don't tell my kids, but all my canned chicken is actually canned turkey.
Nice.
Thanksgiving, I get the free turkeys. I get the 39 cents a pound turkeys. I get to buy $100 worth of groceries, get a free turkey. Don't tell my kids, but they haven't had canned chicken in years.
You're a genius, Tammy. And I'm like Nina. I did a video on the snow-free. I like to just chop up boneless, skinless chicken breast, shove it in a jar. Okay. But I tried Bumblebee Junction, which is an awesome channel, by the way.
Oh, they are.
And they did a recipe on it because it is beautiful. Look at the difference between the one I shoved in a jar and then this one that was parboiled. Mm-hmm. So I'm like Nina. I like to come home, right? And I'll be like, oh, I found grapes at the farmer's market. And I'm going to come home and drain both of these, throw them in, and I'm going to make myself chicken salad instantly instead. Remember, we used to have to boil the chicken breast, Nina, right? Yeah. You know, and then shred it with a fork. And sometimes it was tough and you couldn't avoid it. You didn't do anything different than you did last week. Maybe it was a freaking rooster. We don't know.
Right.
So, and that leads me to another thing I've talked about a million times, but I'm old and I repeat myself. Okay. You know how this is, we just shoved this chicken breast, we chopped it up, did it to an inch headspace, shoved it in a jar, processed it. All the juice in this, what is that, people? Chicken.
What? It's broth.
Yes, the chicken made it, squeezed it right at its little self. The damn chicken was dead, people. Don't be afraid of it. It's not like his blood. Okay. So I poured this into ice cube trays. Then you can figure out, right? You fill up your ice cube tray because this is a little bit over a pound of chicken in here, right? And you'll get chicken broth. So say you just need to add, you're making chicken cacciatore and it's not as moist as you want it. I'll take a couple of those frozen cubes after they freeze in it. I dump them in a Ziploc bag. I have ones from beef stock. One of my best one was from a stand-in rib roast Fern made. Oh, dear God. That's so good. And I'll just chunk it in my cacciatore and it gives it hell of flavor. Now, I may be different. Tammy and Nina may do it different. I don't season my chicken. I want this chicken, if I want to turn it into a chicken taco, chicken whatever, chicken salad, I'll season it when it comes out. I don't want to commit to taking a whole thing of ground beef, right? And going, oh, I'm going to can this and I'm going to make this taste like taco. Well, if I do that, what if Fern says, hey, I want, ground beef stroganoff.
Right.
And all I got is 50 things stored in there with taco meat. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
To me.
Some
So then
people
you have
have
some spicy stroganoff then.
What's that? Taco stroganoff.
some people have different opinions on canning, like a recipe, and then what I call ingredient canning. I'm an ingredient canner, so I can. Well, I did, and I will again. But when I can chicken plain, so that I can season it and add it and make it whatever I wanted when it come out of the jar. And then I had carrots separate and potatoes separate. I don't put everything together in the same jar. Occasionally I can, like a soup, but normally it's ingredients so that you can combine those and make your whatever you're cooking. And you have individual ingredients. So this chicken is the same as this chicken. If you want, to make this recipe, you use the same chicken. It's not separate kinds of chicken. So, some people prefer to do like a recipe and then can the recipe, but I prefer ingredient canning unless, again, it's like a soup or something.
Very smart. How about you, Tammy? Are you an ingredient canner as well, generally?
I do both.
Excellent.
I do the ingredient canning, and then I have a couple things like I call my soup starter.
Yes.
So it's unseasoned chicken with celery, onions, carrots, whatever mixed vegetables from the store or whatever that happened to be in the refrigerator or freezer at that point. And I pull that out to make my soup then. So I have some of both. And then I do a few meals in the jar, like chili. I love to can I actually make extra chili to can.
Yes.
Before I finish eating it, I finish cooking it to eat. I can some up. I actually kind of plan for canning that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just starting out with canning, in my opinion, right, the easiest thing to can to start with is beans. They are so easy. And when you have them on your shelf and you need something quick, grab a jar of beans that's already canned, 5 minutes and you're ready to eat,
Okay, I have a question on that because I know it's been brought up many times, and Nina and Mouse, you were both part of those live chats a couple of years back. We discussed kidney beans. Kidney beans in a can has a very bad tendency to go rancid pretty quick. How about when you can it at home? Is that still an issue?
Fresh is the day you put it in there. The key to that is the approved method, okay, is you have to soak your beans overnight. You do not have to, okay? Even our uptight canners, right, like me, who stick with approved methods, who ain't fixing to get botched. I cannot afford the helicopter ride to get medevac. I need to get a bracelet that says, do not medevac my elderly behind. Okay, if I do something stupid. It's $28,000 to go from where I live to Charleston Hospital. I ain't paying that. Okay, so I'm canning stuff right. If you do your pinto beans, your kidney beans, what other kind of bean? Navy beans. I think Tammy's done navy beans. Is you want in a pint jar, you're going to use just below a half cup of beans dry. Don't do a full or overflowing half cup, and then you add your water, right, to process it, or it's going to siphon out. So, right, but they will never lose their flavor, Ohio, unless that jar was compromised. And I never put onion or anything in them unless I'm canning them for my former pastor who loves pinto beans and his family can't eat them. So I'll put onion in his and a ham hock, and then he can head out of here, with 12 quarts of it and eat himself and fart himself silly for weeks. That's what he does. So.
Are you getting eat up by mosquitoes, Tammy?
No, it just got dark. I'm moving, so my house is a mess. So is my porch you're about to see. But I decided I better turn the light on if you're going to be able to see me at all. I live in Michigan. We don't have mosquitoes yet.
Oh, okay. You're on the other side of the world, right?
Don't worry, I'll send the ones from Ohio up to you.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sure they're migrating here as we speak.
If
But-
they could carry some boxes to your new location, Tammy, they're big enough to do it, you know?
Right.
Having the size of jet planes when they get here.
Yes.
Yep. I can attest to that, having lived in Michigan 90% of my life.
My favorite bean to can, though, is garbanzo beans
Ooh.
because
Nice.
the juice from the garbanzo beans that you drain off is an egg substitute you can use in baking.
Ooh. Get out.
What?
So if you don't have eggs, it's called aquafaba. And you take that juice, you drain it, you keep it, you can freeze it if you don't want to use it right away. But you can take that and substitute that for eggs in cakes, in cookies, in all sorts of baking.
That's it.
That's
Learn something new.
interesting. Interesting information, people. Oh my goodness.
That's a 2-for-1 for me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
And isn't that why we all get together and chit chat about canning?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
We get some little nugget, right? And plus we're nuts and we're fun. So
I may not be able to can eggs except pickled, but at least I'll have egg substitute when I can my garbanzo beans.
yes. And again, you're using everything. You used water when you canned them, right?
Yep.
You use some kind of liquid. And that is another thing that's a really good reason to can beans. When Hurricane Sandy hit, now remember, I'm 64 years old. Some of you may not have experienced Hurricane Sandy up north. And all of the prepper boards, their biggest issue was they had to wait for union electricians. You know, some of them could do their own work on their house. They had to wait till the water left, right? They got power back. They're out there trying to cook beans. These were preppers, not necessarily canners. They're cooking and cooking on an open fire in their cast iron. It's hot as all get out, okay? And they're trying to cook pinto beans. And they're using the meat like some ham hocks or something out of their freezers that were going bad. And one of them cooked them 16 hours. They never got soft.
Mhm.
When beans get old, they get stale. Anybody who tells you different is a liar, or they have, like, I don't know, stingray teeth, okay? And it doesn't bother them. The rest of us who have normal teeth and expect to chew on a firm but not too hard of a bean, they were shocked because they had like 50-pound bags of garbanzos, navies, and they couldn't use them. They couldn't get them soft. So that's when I started canning beans.
You know what the problem was? You know what they did wrong?
What?
They added the salt first. They'll never get soft if you put the salt in first. You have to wait till they're cooked and then add salt.
Well, the other issue was they didn't have a lot of fresh water. And you have to use, remember, you got to clean your beans.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can them dry, right, which is not approved, but it does work, you're still going to sort through your beans, pull out the stones. Nina's familiar with red beans because in Louisiana we love those camellia, and you'll get a lot of stones in those.
Absolutely.
You still rinse them, and then you can drain them through a colander. But that was their issue, not having a lot of fresh water, trying to hurry up with that soaking process. So that's when I started canning beans. Was, oh my God, I do not want to be out in, 98 degrees in South Carolina coast trying to whip up some pinto beans and ham hocks from a neighborhood and sweating like a hoe in church. So that's when I started canning them. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And they
I'm going
tried.
to break the monotony for a second here and throw this up. As most large channels have a family name for their chat people and their people that follow. Gil and I came up last year with APE, but I've modified it this year just a little bit. So APE stands for Advanced Preparedness Engineers.
Yeah, no, I'm
Whether
not
you're a home,
screw that.
you're an APE, hush.
I'm not an ape. I'm a food storage enthusiast.
You are an Advanced Preparedness Engineer. You have a degree in canning as far as I'm concerned.
I'm an
Therefore, it
elderly
makes you an
woman.
engineer.
Who likes food and has been married 40 years and can satisfy a man just with that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. An ape.
Now, the fastest way to a man's heart through his stomach, yes.
And
Look at
Nina,
me. I like food too.
yeah, Nina and Tammy, did y'all catch what SOP said, which was, I'm going to break the monotony a minute? Were we boring you, Ohio? Gil, did you catch that nonsense? Oh, now he can't hear.
Oh, he's muted. Look at him.
Gil's muted, yes.
I'm
He's been
muted, so I wasn't interrupting with my coughing and sneezing and stuff. But yeah, I heard.
Okay, Ohio just overloaded his skinny little tail with his mouth there. The monotony.
The
Tam,
monotony.
I have
The
never been told
monotony.
it was monotonous.
I have never heard that before either. I'm shocked because
Yeah, and I'm not an ape, and I'm
Hey.
not
a lot of
monotonous.
things said about me, but boring and monotonous have never been two of them.
Hey, I'm just comedic relief here. That's all I am.
Gil, would you
And
put
I got
up
you guys laughing. So hey, I got you guys
want you
laughing.
to-
I did my job.
I want Gil to put up a meme of a pitchfork and a flaming torch. Okay,
Yeah.
And we're coming for you with that.
Well, see, he can put it up, but that doesn't mean it'll actually show up on the stream because I have to approve it.
Yeah, he has to prove it here.
Well,
I'll
just
see.
imagine that we're going for him with it. Okay.
Right.
Jake asked a question. How about my beans in long term that I used my vacuum sealer? I have a witness to that, Jake Jacobs, and then Tammy and Nina can chat about it. I bought myself, I think I had 25 pounds of camellia beans that I put in 1 pound vacuum sealer packages. And after my prepper buddies who were experienced cooks with cast iron, etc., couldn't get their beans soft, I tried them. They had been in my vacuum seal bags for probably 12 years. They were hard, and I'm still mad about it. So that's when I started canning. I pitched all those camellia beans out in my marsh, and I swear to God, only the sharks could chew them. My feelings are still hurt about it. So I have lived that. They looked cute in that vacuum sealer, right? They didn't poke the bag. They were harder than they were just hard. Let's say that.
Do you know what you could have done with them?
Shot them use them as target practice with my 38, my Taurus Judge, my shotgun, pick a weapon.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you grind them up in your coffee grinder, and you can use that bean flour for up to 1/3 in any recipe for regular flour, and it adds protein to your recipe.
I love it, but I think they'd have blown up my little coffee grinder.
Well, there is that effect still. They still have that, blow up effect.
Yes. I
Well,
was mad.
see, you would have had perfect survival technique right there. You could have taken those very same beans, put them in a 12 gauge shotgun, put some wax around it, and you'd had your own buckshot.
Now, see, now we're talking. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
'Cause I was like, oh. So, but yeah, there's got to be a way. And I know a lot of people have them in 5-gallon buckets and Mylar bags, but my main concern with beans is just how long they take to cook. So I like them canned, whether you do a pint, because we like the pinto beans, because what do you call that? Refried beans, when you make your little
Oh,
tacos,
absolutely.
burritos.
Absolutely.
So soft. Tammy knows you just got the hiccup. Sorry, smashing with a fork. See, Ohio, you made me gasp for air. Saying monotonous.
And
now,
it's so easy. It's so easy to can them and have them on your shelf and have them ready to go. And
Yes.
there's, you grab it and have a meal really quickly because I work long hours, So
There you go, mouse nose.
we're coming after you.
Okay, do-si-do. I made it.
yes. That's every canner out there who just heard the word monotonous coming from the skinny
Monotonous.
tail, Ohio.
Oh
Woo,
my
thank you,
goodness.
my hero.
Have
What
fun.
the
Remember,
hell?
I moved. I'm no longer in the same location, and nobody there has my address.
Dude, I can so hunt you down. That was so wrong. It would just made me laugh. I was like, what? Woo. Yeah.
I did my job. I made y'all laugh. That was the important part.
See, Backwoods Law loves the pitchfork and torch mop. These
That's
are
right.
people, Nina.
But see, the only reason he loves it because that means he gets to go do what he practices. 'Cause for those who don't know, Backwoods Law has a little bit of experience in first aid, let's say.
Just
Just
a
a
wee
little
bit.
bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
See, it's like having the old band together, Nina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because we had a really good time. It's where we met, right? SOP, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know what? Communities come and go, but we all stick together.
And that's a true community. People stick together even through time, through
Yes.
hardship. They always a true community will always come back together and say, hey, you know what? I still support you.
Yes.
Let's get this shit going again. Excuse my
Well,
French.
Here's a perfect example is what Tammy just taught us all about garbanzo juice, right? The garbanzo
Mhm.
juice, right? I didn't know you could substitute. We get information from each of it. There's a lot of things that I've done that Vern will say, wait a minute, what did Nina say about this? Remember when Nina, y'all did a chat and Nina said, so he remembers. So I find it impossible to get mad at people like Gil, who have shared so much of his life with us, Ohio, right? That we have learned from, to get our feelings hurt about something petty. You know what I'm saying? Or who's smarter or whatever. We can learn from each other whether you're a 6-month-old canner or you've done it 50 years. You know, Gil has moved, going through all kind of new exciting things they share. And I guess we're not a group of people who are looking to be offended. If I don't see Nina for months, Nina is on my prayer list, right? Because she is my preparedness sister who we did chats for a really long time and helped each other enormously, not just trying to get views or monetize. We learned a lot from each other. Tammy just hit us with something mega, you know, and it's helpful.
Other lady I'd like to try and get back into the swing of things is 3D Tripper, because she's got a wealth of information too. Because for those who don't know, 3D Tripper has recently, well, in the last couple months, started her channel back up again.
Good.
And she is a single woman out in the middle of nowhere doing it all by herself. And that woman has got a lot going on. So if you haven't checked out 3D Tripper, and I don't have a link to her stuff in the description, but I can throw one up after the video, go check out 3D Tripper.
Now, I want to interject something, if I may.
Go ahead, Gil.
Okay. I just saw a video from another great lady earlier this weekend, Martha, Old School Prepper, and she was canning some chicken, and she was explaining about, you know, why not to put the lids on and stuff, and how sometimes it'll bubble oil over in it, and you'll get the broth and fat out around it, and it'll congeal around the lid, and you can't get the lid off if you leave it on there for more, you know, you don't remove it immediately. But she was talking all about the things about cleaning and stuff. She's another great canner as well.
The only thing I cannot do on a chat is ever deal with someone who's intoxicated. I cannot do it. I cannot stand it. I can't stand when people smoked a little weed and you could see it. I am petrified of giving inaccurate information and someone in the side chat or a new canner thinking, like, if I use the wrong word, right? Lid, ring, wiping it, that sort of thing. That's the only thing I hate. Other than that, I'm pretty hard to offend. And I hate the constant cursing, which is, I like all of your channels. We just do not have to talk, you know, use a potty mouth. You know what I mean? Makes my ears bleed.
Well, in about 5 minutes or so, I'm going to take off and get mine set up. So, Dave, would you mind sharing something on this that I got set up there?
No.
All right. So I was, looking at some stuff here when you were talking about when Nelson was talking about the ball canning book, and this is a PDF you can download, the Amish canning book.
Ooh.
Okay.
Except I just did a review of that, and she's not Amish, and neither are the recipes.
Okay.
So
Tammy.
If you're expecting something, I mean, it's a very, very good by the book canning book, very, very good book, but it's not Amish, and neither is the author.
Okay. And something I was looking at here, you can't hardly find any anymore with the Kerr canning books.
Right.
Okay. And then I Googled the ball canning books, and all the different ones came up. And then from on Amazon, you go to Pages of All, and I just brought some up here. So this is just the Complete Home Canning Book. This is by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
That's the bomb right there.
The bomb diggity.
Yes, that's your Bible. That's your Cadillac. Screw all. That's all that in a bag of chips and lids.
And then there's one for last year's ball canning. It's $18. And then the Back to Basics, which is a couple years old, which I think they're probably going to be updating that one here shortly.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of good ones out there on Amazon, and then just you look at them on a bunch of these are on eBay. You can get the used ones at the thrift stores. So you don't not paying the full price.
don't forget to check your local Salvation Armies, Goodwills, secondhand stores that take books. Always check those, because invariably somebody passes away. Sorry to say it that way, but it does happen. I mean, all over constantly. And people get books. Well, I don't want these books. They take them to Salvation Army or a little church thrift store.
Yeah,
So
they
check
don't
with
know
your
what
local
they
church.
have. Makes me
Right.
so mad.
And
So
can
don't
I
forget-
hook on? Go ahead.
Or
ahead.
they have a copy as well already.
Yes. And let me hook on to what Tammy said. And this is the most epic thing, like the Amish canning book, right? She's not Amish. And I told people, right, and I'm not a mouse either. But the reality is, go to YouTube and look for reviews of a book you find. Tammy's done one, and you find experienced canners who can point out 15 to 25 unsafe recipes in those books. Now, if you're a new canner, do not take that risk. Stick with these tried and true, okay? Because Nina, Tammy, and I could go, okay, I'm going to make me a layered chicken soup or turn it into a pot pie. I'm not going to go, oh, I'm just going to process it for green beans or the potatoes in it. We have a greater understanding of what we're putting in there without doing that. But always when you find a book somewhere that's not Ball or the American Home Preservation, come to YouTube. And I'm telling you, the Tammys out here have done a review on it. Don't take everything for what it says it is, because you can read some stuff in the front of some of these canning books that aren't approved that make experienced canners go, holy cow, I'm burning this in my backyard. Right? Because if we'd have done that, Nina or Tammy, when we started canning, we'd have probably got so sick we'd have never canned again.
Right.
So I appreciate people who put themselves out there and do a review on those books, because it's to help all of us and new canners. We can never get too confident, right?
Yep. So hopefully, on my channel, as I do the canning to rebuild my food stores, y'all will come and hang out with me. I've got to start from scratch, but I don't care. I have the knowledge and I know how to do it. So, and I'm here on the property. So that's half the battle, I think.
Yes.
That's something that I'll be undertaking, is canning all the things that I had before. So
I liked all the freeze dried you showed, because all you need is broth for your ground beef. Right. And you could make yourself a ground beef stroganoff. What that is, such a huge amount of meats that you had. It was amazing. And I was like, oh my God, it will not be hard for you to get your ingredients canned that would turn those into meals.
So I didn't put any seasoning in my ground beef. And I did, some people freeze dry raw ground beef. I don't like the texture of it. I cooked this ground beef before I freeze dried it. So this has already been cooked, and then I washed it to get any of the fat off of it and put it in my freeze dryer. There's no salt, pepper, any of that in here. So however I want to season this ground beef, I have the option. If I want to make beef stroganoff or if I want to make tacos, this is the base. It's unseasoned as it is. And that's just the way I prefer it. Same thing when I can ground beef and I can chicken. I prefer for it to be unseasoned.
Nina, do you rehydrate that like a dehydrated thing, like that ground beef, for example, if you were making tacos?
Yes. And so say, for instance, you use this, your water, put your tomato sauce or whatever you want in your taco mix, in your seasoning or whatever. Put this in there dry. Just take a half a cup, sprinkle it over, and it will absorb the moisture that you put in the recipe. So when I use this to make like spaghetti, I get my sauce ready and I sprinkle however much ground beef I want, like a half a cup or a cup, into my spaghetti sauce, and it absorbs the moisture, and it's just like you just cooked it. It
And it pulls in
rehydrates
all
it.
that flavor, right, of
Huh?
your taco sauce or spaghetti sauce. That's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So, you know, the freeze dryer, not everybody has a freeze dryer. I know I made the choice to get one, but I add it to my food preservation arsenal. So
Mhm.
it's just another option.
Right on.
All right. I'm going to step out here. I got to go set mine up. One last quick question for all three of you. I've heard people talking about they were thinking about the can, like they bought a bunch of cans last year of beans, pinto beans, navy beans, black beans, and they're thinking about recanning them in glass jars. Your opinion?
They bought them in cans, son?
Yeah, they bought them in the cans, like at Costco or whatever, and they're thinking about recanning them into the glass jars. Your thought on that?
Tammy?
You can do it, but you better like refried beans because you're going to have a lot of varieties of refried beans.
Yes.
I do find if you put them in something like tomato sauce, they stay firmer. The acid in the tomato sauce will keep them firmer. So you will get a better, more like a chili bean that way. But if you can them just in water, you're going to get a lot of bland refried beans.
They're going to be mush. They're going to be mush. When you open the can and you put them in a jar, they're going to turn to mush. In my case, I could open the can and freeze dry them, and they would be perfect.
Yes. My answer is hell to the no. That's just a no. Not doing
Okay.
it.
All right, I'm stepping out now.
Yeah. Tammy nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to be mushy. Absolutely.
I like
this was so much fun.
it was. And Tammy, are you moving somewhere exciting or with more storage or bigger kitchen or anything great like that? Are you excited?
I am moving from an almost 3,000 square foot house into a 500-foot off-grid, no electric cabin in the woods.
Yes.
Nice.
A campfire, an outdoor kitchen, and a 1930s wood cook stove that is my dream stove.
Oh my God, that you are living, girl. Oh my God, Nina, this is fantastic. You are.
I don't think my two boys still at home quite agree yet, but they're getting on board.
They'll grow up. They'll grow up.
I bought a wood stove when I was in Tennessee, and whenever we came here, Josh brought it for me. So I've got a wood stove and a cabin at the back of the property. But I want my wood stove up here. I like cooking on a wood stove. So I've got one that I've got to put together. One of these days I'll get around to it.
Cooking anything on cast iron is much more enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I go out every summer and do a wilderness camp for kids through our church camp, and I cook for 45 people over the open fire for a week.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
The most amazing thing is I took the leftover boiled potatoes from the night and I fry them. You would be surprised how many 4th and 5th graders have never had fried potatoes for breakfast.
Get out.
They think they can't eat enough of them.
Wow.
I love fried potatoes. Good God. Their parents should be spanked. My God, potatoes are life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've made fried potatoes, slice them up like you're going to make home fries or whatever. Put them in your skillet with some bacon grease. Saute them till they get crispy. Crack you some eggs and mix them in there. Oh my Lord, it's so good. It's so good. Put some cheese on top. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Pull you right out of the depression. I put a link to Tammy's channel because the one that was in the side didn't work. I'm telling you, YouTube is a creepy, phonic, messed up mess today. I've struggled to find channels. So that way people can sub it. I mean,
well, if nothing else, the links to all three of y'all's channels is in the description below.
Cool.
So if y'all need a link to it, they are in the description below the video.
Nice. Cool. Thank you very much.
That is exciting, Tammy, and I hope you do some videos on it. It is way fun to watch. Like we watched Nina get the wood stove. I don't know. This stuff is just fun to us, you know.
Mhm.
Yep, absolutely. This is
Well-
fun. This is fun stuff.
We'll have
Yes.
to do it again then.
Yes.
Yes, it was
Tammy,
very
will you
nice
come
to
back?
meet both of you ladies because I had
You
never met
too.
either one of you yet. So this was
I
very
know.
nice.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited.
We aim to please once a week, and today's y'all's day.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
when do you move officially?
I have been moving and I have to be out June 1st. Kind of.
Okay. All right.
Wow, you're up against the timeline then.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
the person that bought the property is related to me and he has kind of kept me busy babysitting his kids for a whole week in this period. So I have a little grace.
Good. Good. Because I was going to say we do canon chats. Nina does some ladies chats. And myself and Tasha do some chats and would love to, when you get time, you know, if you could ever join those, because you got a great smile, you're positive, and it's like, oh, and you gave us a clue on garbanzo juice. I mean, in the name of God, that was
I know,
fabulous.
right?
And it's really fluffy when you bake with it. So it's really nice to make a big fluffy cake.
This is so
Right.
Congratulations there, Backwoods.
Nice.
Backwoods himself will be moving here pretty soon. Then maybe we can convince him to come up on a live chat again. It's
Right.
been a long time since we've seen his face, or at least his coffee cup, at the very least. Anyway,
Right. I will say moving sucks though. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Sucks.
yeah, it does. I agree.
moving sucks to the 10th power when you're a prepper or canner. Remember,
Yeah.
8 years ago, I moved from like the Greenville area, 4 hours away. And to move all my canned goods, I did just what Tammy did. I took these rings and I put them loosely on my jars. Okay. And I had a friend with a van who took all the seats out for me. And I had all my, you know, your ball and cur boxes. And I was able to lay them all flat in his van on top of huge comforters to cushion it. And I said, you will drive like a grandpa, okay? And will not go through potholes. I mean, it's a mommy van, for God's sake. And most of them I put in, the ones that couldn't fit in there, I put all my meats and tomato juices, the things that could have erupted, right? The important things. Other than that, I took my quarter pint jars with the lid on it, not super tight, but enough, right, that it would be like that. And then I wrapped it with that clean white packing paper you get at Home Depot or whatever. And I set them in those milk crates you steal
Yeah.
from behind grocery stores. If you do steal them, they have Bordens and stuff left on them. They don't want you to take them. I looked up at the cameras. I was like, I'll pay for them if, you know, the cops come, but I got to move all my food. And
Right.
then the movers took that in one of their personal vehicles in the back of a pickup truck for me. Because I didn't care if anything else made it but my canned goods.
Yeah,
You know,
if you've got
Eric, man,
good
welcome.
canned goods, take a sock and put over,
Yes.
you know, each jar.
Yes.
You know, just put it down in a sock to
Mhm.
wrap it, to pack it, to move it. You know,
Yep.
because they're holy vessels, people.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Don't tell Mouse if you decide to use one as an oil lamp. Just don't tell her.
Or a pencil cup. Just, I swear, when I go to people's house and I went into a friend's bathroom and she had one, and I think it is a jar, I gave her a food and she had her kids' hair bows in it. I felt around the lid of that, didn't have a chip, felt around this whole thing. I will have you know that I stuck that in the back of my shorts, walked out, slid it in my purse, and left all those hair bows right on the side of her sink. She did because she was not a canner. I know it was my jar. Made me mad.
Yeah.
hmm These aren't free, right?
Oh,
And then she noticed.
there is a policy. If you do not return the jar, you do not ever get gifted again.
Praise. Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Yep.
folks, we are at the top of the hour. Gil's getting his started. So he put a link earlier in here. I can, as soon as I get my mouse to follow where it's supposed to go.
It's the little boy in the corner again.
Yeah, hey, I'm running 2 monitors here. I'm technically disadvantaged.
There it is. I got it. Got it. It's ropes. or something. Waiting for Gray Man Prepping, right?
There,
Ohio.
I just put it in on Charles' channel.
Okay. Yes, the same one. Yep. Okay, groovy. Well, thank you. And Tammy, so nice to chat with you. And Nina, I love you. I was so glad to see you.
Absolutely. I love you too.
Okay.
And until
Tammy's
next time,
son is
folks.
waving.
And here's a clue, Ohio, lose the word monotonous from your vocabulary. Just saying.
It's a natural word. After living in Michigan for so many years, it just slips right out.
We're waving to your kid behind you, Tammy.
I muted myself for a reason.
So cute. Where me and Nina are like, hey.
No, hey.
All right. So with that being said, y'all have fun. We'll get this set up again in the future. So until next time, we'll see everybody over at Gil's channel. Be safe and God bless.